So this is a update, and I guess kind of winter prep. This is the persimmon tree. The leaves are down, and all the persimmons. So I think it's the raccoon poops. Those poops I've been playing with. I think the raccoons just really go after those persimmons. I had the concrete delivered yesterday. Massive truck, massive ruts. Can't even see the end of the culvert. I think the end of the culvert. Oh, there it is. Something and something. So I was about a yard short on my first. It was like 8 yards. Ended up being like 9. So I ordered 3 more just to be on the safe side. And when their first load was coming up, it was like they made a big, like 2.5 foot deep rut right here. So I had the extra concrete put down, kind of fill in that rut and then shore it up. So more likely than not, other trucks would be driving over that same spot. And yeah, so here's the chain, and I got some no trespassing signs up and about. Tricky thing is, this is gonna take, so I still have the other half of the concrete to do, and before they drive on this, I want to give it maybe 2 weeks or something for it to cure before I do the next load. If I still got a lot of shovel work to do, it may end up taking that full 2 weeks. It's a lot of rainy weather, so it may not be an issue, or I may just wait on this to cure, before I do the second pour. Got my little tree areas going up and up and up, and that's the landing for the alfalfa hay planter going at that turn. Some logs and some more logs and some more logs. So for these things, dig out this, maybe dig it a little deeper, making it into like a little dent, filling in the back of the thing. So these rocks go on the other side. Haven't gotten around to it yet, but these will, these extra rocks at each, there's a pile of extra rocks at each one. It'll be for the tree planter on the other side. Yeah, so digging it out and then kind of filling in the berm, creating a bowl. And what I'm thinking about doing is mulch with compost, or wood chips with, I'm thinking wood chips with compost. Kind of not really ideal, but affordable. Let's see what the raccoons are eating now. I don't know what that is. So I guess it's kind of like winter came yesterday. Just a cold spell, but getting below freezing. Yeah, the driveway held up nice. It rained yesterday morning, maybe like a ½ inch, the night before yesterday, and then yesterday morning it was raining. It was supposed to be dry for 2 days, but weather changed. I ended up getting maybe like ½ inch of rain. I think this will look beautiful. So this winter, get a wood chipper and chip up some undergrowths. So the next planter I'm gonna do is gonna be the top planter, extending it this way across the ridge of the hill. Chip up the undergrowth in there, that's probably about half of the project when felling trees, is just getting rid of the undergrowth. So get rid of those undergrowths, Put those undergrowths down here, covering this with wood chips. So, you know, there's still some erosions going on. Nothing major, you know. But that wood chips will most likely stop all of the erosions on this lower portion of it. This has been an issue though. The main issue, all that exposed, you know, from top area that I cleared, all that water running down, eroding this. Kind of see it's just pretty much only gravel now. And it's like these are round rocks, which aren't that good. So it'll make little stream beds that go down, kind of eventually turn in. So I did it before I did the gravel, it just washed all the sediment away, turning it into this, you know, it's just like a creek bed with sharp rocks. Now when I put the gravel down, you know, we'll get 2 inches of rain in a thunderstorm in a couple hours, or overnight or something. And so it washed it out, filled it in, and then I put down a layer of pine needles and then a layer of mulch, kind of collect the water rather than having it run off. And had a couple more thunderstorms and it made a new stream bed going down. I guess you can kind of, well, not with this camera probably not, but see, I did my last patch job. So put in the culvert, well, not a culvert, some of the tubings. You know, this is, I think, schedule 40 or something. This is the thick stuff, you know. Got this going, you know, for the, you know, gray water and the French drains cutting across the built up area over there. You know, I'll be driving over it and all that and settling, you know. And then over here, this is the thick stuff again, you know, held up to the concrete truck. And this is, these concrete trucks are massive. I mean, like, just, you know, it's like 3 sets of wheels, you know, or something, like 6 axle or something. Just monsters, you know. They tore up the, yeah, I thought this was pretty well compacted, but it wasn't. Got some good ruts going, you know, that massive rut. And then this is just soft, you know, the, let's see if we can get a better view. Still kind of hard to tell. You kind of see the ruts and the mulch. I need those mulch. So with these, got like crimson clover, and then over here, winter wheat. And it's hard to say. So I mean, it was freezing last night. I got icicles. See if it'll zoom in. See the icicles on the downspout. Yeah, kind of hard to tell. Let's see. You know, the clovers have sprouted, and they seem to have where is it? Seem to have handled that first freeze last night pretty good. And the wheat, planted the wheat. I didn't plant any of this actually, I just scattered it. Broadcasted it right on the surface. Where is it? The winter wheats are starting to sprout. And it looks like they fared pretty well, you know. it's still pretty young, and I was afraid maybe the breeze would have knocked them out, since they're, you know, all on the surface, nothing's buried, you know. Maybe some of them. This is a good rut right here, 18-inch deep rut. Figured maybe they would have been a little too young and fresh, you know, like the baby roots still exposed. But it looks like they made it. There's the concrete. So this is probably the ugliest concrete job I've ever done. But it gets dark out. You know, there's that time change, you know, and then being winter, you know, I was doing this in the dark. Trying to let this form up a little bit, and it was too wet still, you know, even like 8 o'clock at night. So it's catching a lot of, well, it looks like it's catching a lot of glare, but it's very rough surface, you know. It was too wet to broom, but it was just too late to let it go anymore. And it was like 36 degrees, you know, like freezing. Can't feel your fingers. But got the drain, a little bowl around it. One post cap, and then this is where that footing goes. Another post cap, or, you know, post bracket. Rebars, little rebar stubs I put in after I screeded. So, and I screeded it 2 or 3 times, but it probably could have used, you know, one more screeding. But it was just, you know, it was starting to set up too much to screed, you know, by myself, and I was just getting wore out, and it was getting late, so. Screeded it twice, you know. So the bad thing about you know, doing 2x material, you know, those are 2x6s, 2 10-foot 2x6s with another 10-foot 2x6 in the center holding it together. The wood bows, you know, as it's trying to push it, and then that bow can ride up or ride down. You know, it doesn't create a you know, like a normal screed is made out of metal, but I'm not gonna buy a normal screed. You know, that's just a waste. So looked at my paperworks, and the cinder block will sit 2.5 inches in from this edge, and then this rebar will sit in the, you know, center of one of those voids in the cinder block. So the way, you know, I got it planned is the first block right here going this way, you know, so here will be one void, and then here will be the other void, and then the next block right here, and then the first void in that block, you know, gets the rebar. The first void in the other block gets the rebar, and so on, so on. And then this block goes right here. First void nothing, second void this, and then first void nothing, second void, first void nothing, second void, and so on and so forth. Got a bow in the farm, you know. It doesn't matter, you know. That'll just, you know, I still set these, you know, this is 6.5 inches away from the form, so these ones are going to be a little bit closer to the, you know, the block will be, instead of 2.5 inches, it'll maybe be 3 inches or something, you know, like it's minor, you know. Got the bad boy. It's got concrete floor now. A little rough, but it's not like it matters. So being freezing, it's hard to say how well it's set up. You know, concrete will make heat when it does something as it cures. So I mean, even though it was like 29 or something last night, the concrete may have stayed above freezing. It's hard to say. So normally when you if you're doing it professionally, you tamp it, I believe. I never do it. You know, I haven't done that in years, you know, since like 2000 or something. I can't even remember if tamping is what's called, but it's like basically a big metal like grating that you're knocking down onto it, you know, maybe like 12 inches wide, 3 foot long or something, 2 handles or something, and you go like this, and it pushes the aggregate down into the concrete more. So when you're screeding and all that, you got finer materials up top, but you know, I don't do that. So I had a lot of rock still at the surface. That's kind of the ugliest part of it, is just these, you know, rocks at the surface. Good thing is you can just kick the rocks off. You know, look at it, perfect. And I'm not gonna get any of those like specialty tools. And it's just kind of a hassle. And then like, this will look beautiful if I do like a diamond cup wheel and grind it down. Kind of see in like convenience or in stores, I guess. It's kind of a, or at least it was a fad, because it kind of looks like granite almost. Yeah, but this basement will be mostly storage. Keeping cans, you know, I'll be canning a lot of food. Canned tomatoes, canned salsa, canned ketchup, canned barbecue sauce, you know, like, you know, went to get into like full-on gardening and all that jazz. This would just be like shelves loaded with canned storage. I think 2 windows and 3 windows. No windows, but there will be the door right there. And I was thinking about covering it with the tarp last night just to be on the safe side, but it would have knocked all my little rebar stubs out. So that's the concrete pour. And next thing will be, so the shoveler, you know, today I'm thinking it'll be set up enough to pull those forms. It's a lot easier to pull the forms before it's cured, but then you risk cracking it, you know, because it is still so fragile. But I'm gonna go ahead and this afternoon pull those forms, I think. Or pull them tomorrow. You know, tomorrow would be a lot safer, you know, so maybe I'll just do that since I'm not in a real big hurry. You know, I want to give that driveway time to cure. Dug a big hole. Move all this into that hole. I got a pickaxe out, maybe 2 layers of bedrock for the footing, to get the footing across. And do up the forms and rebars and all that jazz. I don't think it'll be 2 weeks worth of work. It should only be, you know, if it was good weather, a week. But I guess with the weather, it might be 2 weeks. Got the pump, hand pump well. And down here's where the turkeys go.
Let us show you how to maximize your year-end giving for yourself
So I'm curious if this Hancock well has water in it. It should. It's a nice little, what do you call it? I don't know if you can tell. There's the slope going up. Yeah, there's like a herd of turkeys that likes to go down and then up this ravine. I guess the bad thing is, you know, be doing that ramp down into it and then doing the animal barn over there. And the animal barn going to that's rust. So it's all. It's not that bad rust, but the rust is something. Let's go to water again. Now that's silt right there, I'm thinking. That rust is red. This might be good fertilizer water or something, since the animal barn will be uphill from here. There we go. That's a fair amount of water it holds. Yeah, the animal barn will be up there, and then the runoff from it is just gonna run down. Well, actually, the way I'm gonna have it, yeah, it's still gonna catch runoff, you know, so I wouldn't consider this drinkable. You know, I'll be mucking up that animal barn. Oh, it's make-outable. It's 2 white stripes. Let's see what else we got. 2 white stripes. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. 2 white stripes. That's kind of the property line right there. White stripes. White stripes. White stripes. And it's going. The corner stake is underneath some kind of a fallen tree. Like a really old fallen. Oh, I did see a deer tick. Finally, my first deer tick. This fall. Maybe the deer ticks are coming out in the fall. I'm not going to go through there with the risk of deer ticks. I'll wait till winter. But in general, we got the line going down that way. It's probably just to the other side of these big trees, I'm thinking. Is what's it called? Just the other side of the big trees. So I don't got too much room on this side. Oh yeah, winter prep. So no winter prep down here. Let the well freeze. Let's see. It's got a galvanized line on the inside, which I doubt will break. And it probably drains slowly. Yeah, so this is settled good. It's like an 8-inch shear. Got some nice cracks. Cracks. This is all the wood pile. Got some more tubings. So once all the slab is done, put in the French drains. And yeah, that's kind of the wood right there. And between those two rocks, you can see it right in front of that big one. Did a little, it's hard to see with these, did a little washout from all the rains. So on these two, extended out another 10 feet. So some 2 inches in there. I'm thinking what I'm going to do with these rocks is, you know, this would be 7 foot of block. I haven't measured it, but it looks like it might be, you know, barely a foot above it, you know, and then 4 feet above it. So I think I could probably scrounge up enough rocks to go over these cinder blocks with where they're above grade. You know, once it's backfilled, I might go over cinder blocks, mortaring on the rocks, give it a natural look. And it'll be good, you know, extra thermal mass protection, you know. Yeah, so that's the update on the pour. I think I was using those to walk on it, so I could put in that, using these two 10 by 12s, so I could put in the central post beam support and, you know, cut out that, you know, dig out for the floor drain. So it'll be over the next 2 weeks or so, cleaning up these ruts and digging out that, and see where I'm at that point. Maybe get the wood chipper. You know, it's, if I get it now, I just gotta cover it in plastic. It'll be nice to have the house going along, and I can just keep the wood chipper in the basement. That would be ideal. But I might get it early and just throw some plastic over it. Yeah, I had some plastics down there. You know, I got 2 rolls of I think 3 mil or something. I was gonna use this radon barrier under that pour, but it was so rocky, and it's like so many rocks. You can't really pull the rocks out, because if you pull the rocks out, you know, you got no material left. So, you know, putting plastic over it would have been a lot of air pockets. It's the icicles. Got the so the, you know, that's kind of where the well will be. Maybe, you never know with these things. The company I was gonna go with, you know, they said they'd get their truck in October. Call them. They said it'll be springtime. But they're supposed to call back with a confirmation that their truck that they're going to be getting can do this, you know. So they consider this gravel, where you got the layers of bedrock and clay, because as you dig through it, it ends up turning into gravel. So they get a confirmation that they're supposed to call back with that confirmation that the truck that they're getting could do it. So I might just go with a different well company. I haven't heard back from them yet. It's been a couple days. But I got rain waters. It rains a lot. Little spigot. Put the black, you know, 3/4 inch water line on that. Just loose fit it. Good enough. Put a, you know, hose end on the other end of it. Attach a hose to it and use that for the water. For making the mortar. Bunch of backup waters, and it rains enough where I should be able to get enough water. Broadleaves are doing good. This is my baby sassafras. Eat sassafras for root beer. Use the roots of it. Hasn't lost its leaves yet, but it's about to. Probably in another week or so. And I'll pull it. This fig, both figs, don't seem to like the freezing weather. Got some curled up leaves. And this one's splotty, you know, kind of curling. I'm thinking these leaves are getting ready to fall. You know, turn yellow and fall. Now that it's getting into the freezing weathers. It's got all these figs on it still. That I doubt are gonna ripen. 3 of them ripened. But, you know, there's like 20 on here. Not all 20 are gonna ripen. Goji berries don't seem to mind the freezing weather at all. They're looking happy. So are the strawberries. This one, you know, I may have planted it here, or yeah, I probably planted this one here. But then it started up this plant. Yeah, with all these shadows, it's hard to tell. One over here, and then this one started up this plant. I don't even know if you can see because it's in the shadow. But it went bam to bam to bam. You know, a bunch of bams going on down in there. Nice little understory, and then a sorrel, edible, vitamin C, kind of like a clover. It's citrus. I recognize it. I can't think of it. A little garlic. Like the stick bugs have been eating up my strawberries over here. Strawberry. So I kept that thornless blackberry pot in the same spot. Oh, here it is. And it grew roots down into the soil. And then when I pulled the pot out, some of those roots today, I gave it some good dirt, you know, like you can do root cuttings on blackberries and stuff. So those are kind of like root cuttings right there. So I got a bunch of little thornless blackberries right here. And this is actually a good spot because it's got the wattle fencing that I can sprawl around on. I may do some more wattle fencings down by the house once it's ready, you know, for once it's ready for it, and then put some blackberries down there. You know, you want your berries close to the house. A lot of everything close to the house, so you see it every day, and you can kind of monitor it. And when the ones that are down there by the house that you're looking at every day are starting to go into berry or go into fruit or whatever, and then you know to go around and check all of them. Yeah, so winter prep for this is, once these leaves do fall down, take some of this old cardboard, you know, clip off my branches I don't want, chop those up into some 10 inch pieces, you know, trying to keep a couple nodes. You know, there's a node, a couple nodes on it, each piece. Root out those nodes for trees for springtime, and then take the remaining bundles and remaining branches and bundle them up in some cardboard, kind of tighten them up a little bit, put some plastic over it. So that's the winter prep for the fig trees. I'm not doing any winter prep on the vines. This is kind of vines along the back, which you can't really see. You know, that one's still got some leaves. So take my clippings, cover them, and that'll help keep the new growth from dying back. One of the issues is in the freezing colds, you know, like how this is green. This branch would probably die off during the winter, and the spring would, you know, the main trunk would stay, but it would have to grow new branches. Now on trees, so instead of letting them die off, just do that. Strawberries, once they die back a little, you know, they drop their leaves. Probably mulch these beds with that compost pile right there. It's the oldest stuff. So what do you call it? Give it a pH check. Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a little too acidic. This mulch, you know, because there's so many pine needles and coffee grounds, it's probably going to be acidic. Just check it and then get some, you know, supplements, you know, to lower the acidity or something, or raise it depending on what it is. Maybe throw in some fertilizer, like some compost. No, throw in some manure. Some manure and something, you know. And then dress each of these beds with a few inches, but waiting for the things to die back a little. The strawberries and you know, here we got garlic, you know, wait for these things to die back and then cover it. So, you know, here's a sunshine blueberry. Not much to look at, but I think these are called wands or something. It'll put off these little guys. Each year, you know, these were the original wands from it, and they've died. They died in July because it was just, you know, I wasn't watering them enough. You know, water shortage. So I'm thinking about doing, you know, once these things die back and I'm getting ready to dress this bed, I'm taking my clippings from this, you know, these fig trees, go around and clip some of these wands, and you kind of do the same thing as with the figs, you know, like a 6-8 inch piece of it, put it in some rooting hormone and some water, soil, and then let it root out, and kind of, you know, this one right here, you know, get 3 new blueberries just off of this wand, you know, and this one right here, get 4 new blueberry plants off of this one. So this blue sunshine blueberry turned into, you know, 7 new plants plus the existing, you know. Kind of the same thing with all the blueberries. That's kind of winter prep. Cut everything up, get it rooted, you know, and then plant these rooted ones in the driveway, you know, in the springtime, you know. These cuttings. I don't know what I'm going to do here. Got a nice lettuce and spinach and spinach and spinach. So with this one, I may just cover this whole thing with plastic, you know, kind of let the mulberry, maybe do some clippings on the mulberry, you know, once the mulberry loses its leaves, you cut off a couple branches, you know. I like its shape. I guess I would take off this branch right here. Maybe do a cutting or 2 off of that, but otherwise let it kind of grow and just use it as kind of the tent posts or something, like a center, you know, like a teepee post or something, and then just have a plastic going on over it. So, you know, like this one I can actually almost harvest off of. You know, don't want to harvest leaves too early, you know, and it's like I would really want probably 3 leaves for a sandwich, you know, like a bologna sandwich with some lettuce on it. Not bad. If I took 3 leaves off of it, it would probably die, you know. And I don't know if these spinaches will ever get big enough this winter. But they did well in the freezings. And it's going to be below freezing each night for, I don't know, almost a week, you know. But this is like January temperatures almost, you know. Here we are in November, so I mean, maybe they'll stick around, or maybe it'll warm up a little bit. And hopefully, it's kind of what I'm leaning towards, is just covering this with plastic and seeing if I can actually harvest some lettuces. Yeah, those onions, you know, there was a planter right here that had the onions in it. Transplanted them, the onions resprouted, which I didn't think they would do. You know, they're still dormant. Oh no. We've got one sprouting over here. Look at this guy. So, I mean, they died back. I thought that was it for the season. Cover him up a little so he's not as exposed. I want to see if I can just leave him in the ground over winter. Look at this. Another guy. Yeah, and this guy's coming back too. So I guess they're all resprouting. I don't get it, you know. I mean, it was dry in July, but You know, in Washington, I was watering my onions too much, and then the outer peels were just gelatinizing, you know, just turning into kind of like rotting away, you know, not mold, but just turning into this ooze, you know. And it looked like it was too much water, you know, and these stayed decently moist, you know, so I didn't water them much, but it's not like they're bone dry. But maybe that's why they cut out early. Because they're dry, so they're going dormant. But I want to see if I can keep them in the ground over the winter. You know, they're biannual, I think, where it takes 2 years for them to get big and flower. So if I can leave them in the ground for that first winter, that'd be nice. The winter shower's done. Had like 3 tornadoes in Tennessee last week. It was really windy over here, but I'm almost willing to say it's tornado proof. No screws or anything, just some little wood wedges and some stones. Yeah, I gave it metal on the underside, metal on the back side. It fills up with smoke pretty bad, despite, you know, I got little slits here and there, and an actual hole right there to let smoke out. But like if it's smoking a lot, you gotta crouch down like this, you know, and the smoke stays up top, which I don't mind doing. But if I do mind doing it, I'll put in a you know, like a chimney, you know, cut a hole, put some ductwork going out, you know, kind of like a little elbow type deal. But not yet. The ladybugs were a thing. There's no ladybugs around here. I don't know what you're talking about. But it looks like now that it's freezing, they're really toning it down. But this was just covered in ladybugs. Like if it was like, you know, there's this one day, 75 degrees this fall. And if it's warm out, those ladybugs just go crazy. Yeah, so winter prep for hygiene is take a shower once a week. Easy peasy. Got my coffee going. So I fill this up with, you know, maybe 3 cups worth of coffee. Make this real strong. And then I just drink it down a little bit and refill it. Oh, it's good stuff. My little candle. That's a bean, I don't know, like a chili can, bean can, some kind of a can. Fill it with some lard and a wick inside of a coffee can. With some holes, some baling wire. Put like pot or frying pan underneath that paper plate. Just some, what do we got? 1/4 inch Cecil. I tried that. That's like 3/16 coconut husk, but that coconut husk really wouldn't want to get started, so I went back to the Cecil. And I got some 1/8 inch jute twine. I haven't even bothered trying it because I like the bigger flame. Yeah, it's like a decent sized flame right there. You know, it's enough to, you know, not boil water, but get it hot, which is good enough for me. You know, put the chicken nuggets in the pan or something, put a can of something in the pan, and it'll heat it up for you. Keep it down there at night, and it creates a little heat, you know. You know, just put the water in, you know, have this set up down there, and it heats up the water, which is thermal mass, you know. And then in the morning, I just put some coffee grounds in it. Coffee spoon. It's like a, I don't know, I guess it's a serving spoon. I'll do 1 or 2 of those. Yeah, it's a big spoon of coffee grounds. So that's, and then some kind of winter prep, hot coffee slash, you know, over, you know, once the wood fire dies down at night, I still got a source of heat. And I got some more of that set up, you know. So if it gets too cold, just do another can on the other side of the bed, maybe a can at the foot of the bed or something, you know, kind of place some more candles around. But, you know, it was like 29 or something last night. But I was toasty warm, you know, sleeping bag for 40-degree weather inside of a sleeping bag. That is just really good. You know, this thick brown one is just insanely good. You know, it's like the most warm sleeping bag ever. Got some Goodwill. $10 maybe? It was a steal. So I put in, you know, some plastics. Kind of the corners of these windows plasticed off to kind of cut out some of the breeze, you know. I don't want it airtight, you know, like ceiling got all the little holes. But if it's airtight, then moisture builds up and mold becomes a problem. Blah, blah, blah. And it probably wouldn't become a moisture issue just because it's paneling, which would absorb the moisture and release it on the outside. But I got smoke coming from that, smoke coming from that. I'm smoking. So it's nice having that ventilation. You know, it doesn't hold heat good, but it kills, you know, this is winter prep for the shack. Wrapping it in plastic, you know. Done. You know, this one I actually put the plastic under the thing, but it's just, you know, it keeps me warm enough inside, but on the outside, look, the day long legs harvester spiders froze last night. They were all trying to get up away from the cold, but they only made it halfway. Looks like they got stuck on the this stuff. They got stuck to the duct tape. So that's about it for winter prep. You know, went over the corners with the plastic, did up the candle finally. Check it for pH, and then kind of turn it, you know, mix, you know, do like a couple pitchforks of this, you know, and then sprinkle on whatever additive I use, you know, whatever additive it needs, some manure and whatever else. And sprinkle, and you know, a couple more pitchforkfuls, sprinkle some more, a couple more pitchforkfuls, sprinkle some more, let it sit for like a week or something to let it meld together there, and then dress these beds. Raspberry, kind of, I'm not doing anything with the pawpaw. With the pawpaw, it's pretty much you propagate it through seeds, you know, and that's going to take another 5 years for it to make its first fruit. So it's just kind of leaving the pawpaw as is. I may take some cuttings off of this. You know, it's still cold in the shack, you know, but so I mean the cuttings may not fare well that this winter, you know. Once the house is done and I can actually do temperature control, then the cuttings will fare better. But maybe do it's already got some root sprouts going, like, the root mass is kind of grown over. It sprouted this little guy, sprouted this little guy, sprouted this little guy. So, you know, once, you know, it's too much stress to do these things, do these cuttings. It's not too much stress, you know, but it could be. But once the leaves fall, pull up those 3, see if it's one bundle or something. And you can do root cuttings with these ones. Sassafras is pretty much just roots. Where's the sassafras? But with these you can do roots or stems. So pull up some of these little side shoots, see if it looks like a good root cluster. And if not, you know, cut back some of these things, you know, again, just like a 6-inch piece, you know, and then put in some rooting hormones. And dress the beds with compost, and you know, maybe do some more candles. You know, here's a candle setup. maybe do some more candles if I need to. Wrap the first few winters, as I want these things to get taller. So I want a nice open understory, and then, you know, have the branches like right here. And once it gets tall enough, you know, cut off the tops to keep them from getting taller, because these things could get up to like 40 foot tall, I think, which is, you know, I don't want them 40 foot tall. I'd rather keep that growth down, all that energy from the tree, putting it into its lower stuff rather than putting it into the upper stuff that I can't reach. But for the first few years, I'll be doing that, wrapping it in cardboard. Once I do all my prunings that I want to do, wrap it in cardboard, drape it in plastic. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Got the marigolds and zinnias. Marigolds are almost ready to harvest some seeds. It's going to be dry today and dry tomorrow. So maybe tomorrow I'll harvest these marigold seeds that are ready to harvest. And give them, you know, a little time to dry out. Zinnias aren't really ready to harvest, you know. This one might be getting close, maybe a couple weeks or something. I'm thinking these freezing temperatures will get it there. Once the zinnias die back, harvest some of those seeds. Yeah, it's kind of general, you know, covering the driveway with the wood chips this winter. Taking the wood chips from, you know, over there, cutting out the undergrowth, the little 1-inchers. Yeah, I didn't show this. This is why I was cutting up those 1-inchers. Felled those trees. Had the backhoe over here, you know, gravel truck would come up, then back this way, and then go down and dump his load. So I'd work here, you know, so by the time he was turned around, I was, you know, right behind him, you know. So I cleared this area while he was doing his thing, you know, and then once the gravel was all delivered, I stopped working over here, got back onto the house. But this is how far that got. Park it there, take a handful of stuff, drop it there, push it a little, you know. I went over it with the a little thin layer of mulch just to help soak up water and, you know, lessen the erosions going downhill. But yeah, be taking the underbrush, you know, how I started off with the 1-inchers and then the 3-inchers. I think the wood chipper I'm looking at will do 3-inchers, but I really don't want to risk it. So I'll probably just do the 1s and the 2s and save the 3-inchers for something else. So taking all those little underbrushes and chipping them up this winter, clearing it out pretty far. Well, I'll show you real quick actually after this, the general plan. And putting it down on the driveway. And then all over that driveway, you know, even on the berms. I didn't put anything on the berms. I'll put wood chips on that berm while I'm doing the driveway. And then maybe cover it in mulch or just let those wood chips sit and decompose, and after a few years those wood chips will. And so it's cold outside. We're like 50. What do we got? 50 degrees. Feels nice and toasty. Get a little bit of a greenhouse effect going. Let's see what we got. Is that this one? That's this one. So this is the general plan. Let's see. This is 100 foot. This little guy. Well, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 60 is 320 feet. So I'm gonna clear, you know, the undergrowth, those little 1-inchers, about 320 feet along that hillside, along the top crest of the hill. It starts going uphill right around here. This is general plan though. Animal barn, a constant paddock, and then I got 12 vacant paddocks. Each one of these paddocks is like 3,600 square foot or so, 60 by 60, more or less. You know, this one's an odd shape, but more or less the same square footage. Each one being like a 1/12 of an acre. So I'll be rotating the animals in these vacant paddocks. Like, where's the mouse? Have like the piglets here, have the goats and the ducks here. Goats and the ducks will be going up this ramp, and then the pigs will be going in through the bottom door of the animal barn. So kind of, you know, it's easier to, the pigs are going to follow you for the food, you know, so you got to move them in and out one by one, you know, group by group, I guess. So, you know, and then rotating it, so the piglets will be here, the ducks, goats here, and then the piglets here, and the ducks, goats here, you know, and then rotating the crops as well. This is like a Three Sisters mix, oats, Three Sisters, wheat, winter wheat, you know, so I got that winter wheat right here, you know. This will be fruit trees and fish pond and some smaller things like peanuts and tobacco, and eventually, not right now, you know, I'll be doing more mulch and stuff over it. You know, this is just for this year, you know, starting the soil building process. I got it going on out there. Some barley for beer. And then rotating these things around, you know. So it's like this year it's Three Sisters and oats, but then next year it'll be like animal pastures, and those will be over here or something, you know, kind of. And then alfalfa and clover, like crimson clover, and then get some alfalfa. And then some other things, you know, like field peas maybe are a good one for mixing into the hay. Gives them like a little treat. So like a hay mix though. Primarily clover, alfalfa, and then maybe one or two other things. Yeah, so that's the general plan. Let's see. Lower alfalfa, you know, dark blue is the driveway, kind of what I've cleared. That's the housing complex right there. House, outdoor kitchen, barn, carport, alfalfa terrace. This turquoise is crops and animal pasture. Moving them around this, rotating around this. I may let them into this one once I'm done for the year, you know, kind of go in there and eat up the stubble or something. And I'll probably never do this, but if I do, you know, that'll kind of be that pink one. I may someday get around to, but probably not. You know, I don't even know what I would grow over there. You know, I'm growing so much food with this plan. You know, I don't really need to grow anything else. You know, I got a ton of all these little gray things are fruit trees. A ton of fruit trees. You know, there's a center 5-foot wide center walkway, and just fruit trees planted in that center walkway. So I can just walk down that walkway and pick the fruits, you know, and then when the animals are in that pasture, you know, the fallen fruits the animals can eat. Yeah, so that's this winter, cut up these undergrowths from all here, this turquoise, and use this wood chipped undergrowths to line the driveway with, you know. And if I'm done with, once I'm done with the heavy equipment down here, line that, you know, with the wood chips as well. Cover that with the wood chips. And that's winter update.